everyone, it's Trish. Welcome back to another Dress It Up Buttons video. Today we're going to make a fun card project. We're going to be using these buttons and supplies. We're going to be using some of the Confetti mix button mixes, the Forever Friends button mix, and the Fall Medley button mix. For this project, you're also going to need a piece of 8.5 by 11 white cardstock, a glue gun, a little piece of wire, and a brad. You will also need a round nose plier and a chain nose plier and some kind of trimmer. So with that, guys, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And what I'm going to do here, I have my paper trimmer and then there's a little ruler that sticks out from it. So I know this is 11 inches long and half of that would be 5.5 inches. So I'm just going to take my paper and I'm going to go over to 5.5 inches on my ruler. And hold this up toward the top, of course. I know this is a little hard to see because it's big, and then we're just going to trim that. And it's as simple as that. You have 2 card bases. Once you get that done, what you're going to want to do is fold this card base in half and do a nice line across the top. And then what we're going to do is I just traced or drew a pumpkin shape and then I just cut it out. It's just that simple. You can just draw it, you can print one offline, you know, whatever works for you. But I knew the size I wanted for this card, so I just drew it out and then cut it out. And now I'm just going to trace that shape with a pencil onto my card base, okay? Okay, just going carefully around that. It doesn't have to be perfect because remember we are going to put buttons on it. Okay, and just make sure I have the whole thing. Okay, so there you go. There is our pumpkin shape. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to get our glue gun heated up and then we're going to start applying our buttons. Okay, so I figured while our glue gun is getting heated up, I'll show you how to make this little spiral that I'm going to add to the top of the pumpkin, just like so, just to kind of give it a little bit of interest. And all you need is just a little piece of wire, can be any kind of wire that you have on hand, and just trim that, just a little piece. This is probably about 4 inches, so that way then, if you always want to cut more than you think you'll need, guys, because then that way you can always trim it off, but you can't add. So all I'm going to do is just take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab the tip of it, of the wire, like so. Nothing's coming through that side. And I'm just going to start rolling it. And I'm going to stack the wire underneath itself. Okay, so as I'm going here, I'm just grabbing, rotate, and I'm making sure with this hand that I'm putting those spirals underneath. Okay, see how that's working so far? Once you get however many spirals that you want, for as long as you want your little tendril, so we'll say we'll stop there and you can see how that looks. So I'm just going to take my pliers in through the top here and I'm going to grab that top loop and I'm just going to give it a little pull, just like so. Not too hard. You still want it to look springy, but that gives you the idea. That's your little tendril there. And then I'm just going to go in here with the wire we have left. I'm just going to cut about half of that off, like so. And then I'm just going to start making sort of like a spiral here, but it's going to be inside of itself, like so. So I made my loop on the end, and I'm just going to roll that up, and I'm just holding it with my left hand, grabbing and rolling with my right hand, and with my tweezer nose pliers. You can also use chain nose for this, but you get a good grip And I'm kind of like guiding my thumb underneath that wire to give it a little bit of resistance when I roll it. Just like so. All right, so this is going to give us an anchor point is what we're doing now, guys. So just roll that. So all we're going to do is we're going to take this brad and just put it through the bottom of the piece that we made. And we're going to look here and see on our card where we think we want that to be sticking out. And I think right there in where that stem meets the pumpkin. So I'm just going to take a sharp object and just puncture a hole, little hole right in there. And then I'm going to take my little tendril with my brad, and I'm going to push my brad through there, just like so, okay? And then I'm just going to turn it over, and we're going to flatten out the brad so it'll hold tight in there. So I'm just spreading that open, and then just kind of pushing that down. So now we have our little tendril. Okay, so it seems like our glue gun is ready. So I'm going to pull in some of my buttons that I want to use. I did also grab some green buttons when I was getting my glue gun. So because I'm thinking for the stem, I might want some of these littler ones in the greens or something like that for the stem. But we will play it by ear. And I have some different colors of the confetti buttons. Of course, my little decorations for the bottom. We're just going to kind of play with it here, guys. So I'm going to start out by opening up my buttons here. I'm going to open the orange, the yellow, and the cream. And you can do any shape that you want and any colors that you want. You could make a flower, you could make anything, a rainbow, any of that would work. But for a pumpkin, we're going to go in this color family. So I'm just going to start by simply taking a button and putting it in the middle, and then we're going to work off of it. I think I'm going to grab one of these bigger ones, just like so, and I'm going to put that right smack in the middle of our pumpkin. Just a little hot glue. Our first button is down. And then what we're going to do from there is we're going to work our way out from that. Okay, so we'll just put another button beside it in the yellow, and we'll go over here, grab another one, put it on this side in the cream. And I think I'm going to take this little cream flower and just put it kind of in the center of our orange button here, just to elevate it a little bit. These flowers are absolutely adorable. And we're just going to continue working from there, building off of the first button that we put. And you can see how pretty these are. There's a lot of variety of color in it and a lot of neat shapes. I'm just gonna add that there. If you want it, if you're worried about all these spaces in between, you can see the paper. You can paint this orange, or I think what I'm gonna do is just put some hot glue. When I'm all said and done, I'm just gonna put some hot glue between and just sprinkle in a few seed beads in between the open spaces. And I think that'll probably work out well for me. So I'm just making my little flower and glue that on there. Whoops, there we go. And let's build a yellow out this side. There we go. That's almost a cream color, but it does definitely have that yellow hue to it. I'm just gonna dig in here and see what else I can find. There's some really pretty buttons in here. Let's put a little one here. Put another little one here. And it's just simply building your shape by laying in these beautiful buttons. Let's get an orange flower. No, we had an orange flower. Let's get a yellow flower. And squeeze that in here. And you can just, the sky's the limit. It's just enjoy putting everything together. So once we get over to the edges here, we're going to want to be careful that we don't go over the edge of our shape. Okay, because then you're not going to have the correct shape. You can go back in and erase the pencil marks when you're done. If you want to, you can certainly do that. But I have a feeling we're not going to even notice once I get everything filled in here, and we're not really going to need to do that. So I'm just going to work on this. Let's put one here. These flowers, I can't get enough of them. So if you see me grabbing those a lot, that's why. Whoops. That's why. I just can't get enough of them. They're just so cute. And once you get the base layer put down, you can build up too if you want to. Now keep in mind, if you're sending this through the mail, you're going to want to use a small bubble envelope instead of a regular envelope, because this is going to get caught in the machine. So make sure that you're taking precautions like that, because we don't want our beautiful card to get ruined in transit. It's for sure. Let's do a little bit more bright orange. We don't have a lot of that on there, so let's do more bright orange here. These are just so stinking cute. Oops. That one fell out. And see, there's tiny ones in here too that you can squeeze in the little spots. I'm just going to take one of these little buttons and just squeeze it right in there. So that just filled in the space that was between those two buttons. So I will be right back and we'll see what my progress is. Okay, so I'm at a point here where I'm starting to fill in the small areas and around the edges. So what I did is I pulled out some of my mini round buttons from these mixes, these confetti mixes, and then I went and got a few of my green heart buttons. These heart buttons are awesome because you can use them for absolutely anything. They're so nice to fill in anything, really. So I'm just basically just putting a dab of glue down here and adding in my stem color using my hearts. And I wanted to give you also another tip. If you're all done and you don't want to erase the pencil marks, or you think you can still see them too much but you don't want to erase it, what you can do is just go in with like a marker or a Sharpie and outline the edge of this, following the line that you have there, in a color. So if you want to do an orange or yellow or cream or whatever works for you, you can just outline it with a marker and it would make it look super cute. So I'm just going to continue adding on those and building my stem. I think this is coming out super cute. And it would be also a fun project to do with kids. I mean, they would love. Just have to be careful with the glue gun, of course. You could also use like an E6000 or something like that that wouldn't burn their fingers as easily. That would work. So I'm just going to finish this up by putting a couple more. And see how nice they fit together? They fit together so lovely. And they make a really cute shape when they do. So we're just gonna fill that in. So let me look at it. I think I might need one more up there. So let's do a darker one. And I love the variegated because it gives it life. You know, the different colors. Gives it some life. So there's our little stem. And then all I'm simply doing, as I said, I pulled out these little buttons and I'm just kind of working around, filling in the edges with the different colors of buttons that I have here, the mini buttons. Okay. So I'm gonna finish that up and then I'll be back. Okay, so the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna fill in some of this empty space with some seed beads. I have some 8/0 seed beads, size 8s. You can use any size that you have there that'll fit in between. So basically all I'm doing, you could also use glitter for this. You could put it in between, that would work great. Is I'm just taking my little jar, I'm putting some glue down on the spot I want it, and I'm just taking my little jar and just dumping it on there and pushing the beads into the area I want it. Just as simple as that. So we have a middle section here. I'm gonna take the same thing and just dump some seed beads in there, push those in, and then I kind of just tap it because not all of them always stick. But you can see how cute that fills that in for you. Do a section up here. This is a larger section. You can go around the edges. You can do this however you'd like. You could put the seed beads and the glitter. That would be adorable. More is more, right? So I'm just mainly going to go in the biggest areas here and just dump those in. Pushing those in, glue, and pushing. Okay. Oops, I heard a couple beads drop. We don't want that. So now that we have some here, we can just do a little space here. So again, I'm just making sure what's glued in, what's not. Let's see, that's a bigger area. Just tapping that in. So cute. So cute. So you could keep working on that. You could fill it in completely if you wanted to, but I think we're going to stop for now with those. And I'm just going to bring out now some decorative items from the bottom. This is totally up to you if you want to do it, but I have these Forever Friends and my fall medley buttons. Open those up. I'm violent there. Open everything up. Whoops. And I'm just going to pour those out here on my tabletop. And I'm just going to decide where I want these little guys and which ones I want to use. So I just thought they would be so cute just standing around the bottom of the pumpkin. Let's see who all I want to use. Oh, I like that little light blue doggy. Ooh, I think I'm going to go with those three. So I'm just going to nip off the back shank on these. Let's do the center one first. And I'm just going to nip that off with a cutter. Got my seed beads flying all over here. And I'm just going to position it where I want, just like so. And I'm going to kind of overlap. So I'm going to take that little button that's there and put some glue on it and attach it that way. Okay, same thing. Just cut off the other two shanks. Ooh, glue strings. And same thing, just add some glue, add your button, make sure it's set there before you run off. Same thing here. Cute, cute, cute. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take these little leaves that I have. Now this is going to be a little labor intensive because they're little, but you could certainly incorporate some bigger leaves if you had them. But I'm just going to kind of glue these around. I'm going to cut a few of the shanks here before I get too into this so I can keep going. So I'm just going to kind of get those ready. Snipping off a variety of colors. I have the leaves, and then there's also some cute little acorns in here as well. So we'll cut off a few of those. And I don't think we did a brown yet. Orange. Okay. And that's basically all there is to it. We're just going to cut these shanks and glue them on just like art. Okay. So there you go. We're just going to take our little leaf, put some glue where we want it, just like we have been doing, and just apply the leaf. And then I'm just going to fill in the areas with it. Okay, with our leaves and our acorns. And we can also take a little green pencil or whatever, or a pen, color pencil, marker, whatever, and fill those in on the bottom a little bit so it looks like grass. That would certainly work. I'll put a few more over here. And let's put an acorn here. So let me grab something so I can show you what I mean by coloring it in. I'm going to grab my pens here and I'll be right back. So I just got one of my alcohol ink markers, and I'm just going in here and just taking the fine end and just making some marks around the leaves. You could absolutely do this before you put your leaves on. That would probably be the smart thing to do. But I just had this idea, so I thought, well, we'll just try to make it work here. But you just kind of, all I'm doing is just flicking my pen, just making little grass. I just kind of like how that looks. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just, grass is certainly not perfect. So we're just kind of filling in here, there. Alcohol ink will write on your buttons. So if you don't want ink on your buttons, be very careful. Because you could use them on your buttons if you wanted to. If you wanted to change a color or something, you absolutely could. So I'm just doing the same thing here. Filling in here with my pen. Do a little bit further up. So that gives you the idea anyway on the way that you can just add some grass at the bottom and your pumpkin is there, your leaves and your acorns, and your adorable little buddies. This turned out to be a great project and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one, guys.